Good morning, everybody. Firstly, I would like to say thank you to all my supervisors and the examiners for giving me time to present my thesis presentation. My name is Marlinawati Siringoringo. Today, I would like to present my thesis. The title is An Analysis of Strategies Used in Translating Douglas Robinson's Becoming a Translator. List of chapters. There are 5 chapters in my thesis. The first chapter is introduction. Second chapter is review of related literature. The third chapter is method of the research. The fourth chapter is finding and discussion. And the fifth chapter is conclusion and suggestion. Chapter 1, Introduction. 1.1, Background of the study. There are 3 backgrounds of the study in this research. The first is difficulties in reading English textbook. There are a lot of learners in colleges or university that have difficulties in reading English textbook. And then the second is equivalence of the translation. Sometimes the learners find out or looking for the easiest way to understand the textbook by translating the textbook. And from these problems, the researcher is interested to analyze the translation strategies used in menjadi penerjemah profesional by SPA teamwork. 1.2 research question. There are 2 research questions of this research. The first is what are translation strategies used by the translator in translating Becoming a Translator by Douglas Robinson's source text and menjadi penerjemah profesional by SPA Teamwork target textbook. The second research question is how do the strategies affect the message transfer from source text to the target text? 1.3 Objective of the study. There are 2 objectives of this study. The first is to explain the translation strategies used in Becoming a Translator by Douglas Robinson as source text and menjadi penerjemah profesional by SPA Teamwork as target textbook. The second is objective of the study to explain the effect of the message transfer from source text to the target text. 1.4 Significance of the research. There are 2 significance of the research. The first is source text and second is target text. And 1.5 Limitation of the research. The researchers limit the observation only for chapters of the books because the purpose of this research is to looking for the major changes of the translation. 1.6 Definition of key terms. There are 5 definitions of key terms that used by the researchers. The first is definition of the translation by Hatim and Mande. And then second, definition of equivalence in translation by Nida's book. The third is translation strategies by Newmark. And then source text by Larson and target text by Larson too. Chapter 2, Review of Related Literature. 2.1 Assessing Translation Equivalence. First is definition of translation by Larson, and then second definition of equivalence by Nida, and then 2.2 translation strategies. Here the researcher used the translation strategies by Newmark. There are 16 translation strategies such as synonymy, naturalization, paraphrase, shift, descriptive equivalent, functional equivalent, cultural equivalent, application, transference, compensation, modulation, compensational analysis, truth translation, recognized translation, couplets, and the last is notes. And then 2.3, process of the translation. There are 4 processes of the translation. The first is analyzing, second, transferring, the third, restructuring, the last, evaluating and revising. 2.4 Review of previous study. Here, the researcher took the previous study from MG M. Fernandi Ngestiantias 2013. The title is An Analysis of Idiom Translation Strategies in the Rainbow Tropes. Chapter 3, 3.1 Research Design. This research was designed as descriptive qualitative method. According to the Wilkinson 2000, qualitative method is usually analyzed by subjecting it to some forms of coding process. And then 3.2 Data and data source. 3.2.1 The data of this study are in the form of words, phrases, clauses, or sentences that containing equivalence meaning that found in both textbooks. This data compare each other between English and Indonesian. 3.2.2 Data source. The researcher used source text becoming a translation by Douglas Robinson and target text menjadi penerjemah profesional by SPA Teamwork from the first chapter until the fourth chapter by comparing the both books based on the strategies from Newmark. And 3.3 Data collection. There are 2 data collection of this research. The first, in this research, first of all, researcher collected all the words, phrases, clauses, or sentences in the 4 chapters that equivalence in the table. They were put into the table side by side to make it easier to show the way of the equivalence of the translation that translated by the translator. The second step analyze the strategy that translator used in this book. The researcher used the strategy from Newmark, synonymy, naturalization, paraphrase, shift, descriptive equivalent, functional equivalent, cultural equivalent, application, transference, compensation, modulation, componential analysis through translation, recognized translation, couplets, and notes. 3.4 Data analysis. There are 4 data analysis that used by the researcher. The first is observing. Second is the researcher will collect the equivalence translation that found in original textbook or source text and Indonesian version as target text. The third, the researcher will identify the data that found according to the case study. The last is the researcher will compare the equivalence translation in original version with the Indonesian version. This step also want to know the strategies that used by the translator. Chapter 4 Finding and Discussion. 4.1 General Commentaries. The translator of Douglas Robinson's Becoming a Translator into Indonesia menjadi penerjemah profesional is SPA Teamwork. In addition to a number of translation works, SPA Teamwork has published some books. Becoming a Translator that is taken as source of data in the study consists of 295 pages, while its Indonesia translation consists of 583 pages. It means that the target text has around 288 extra pages. 4.2 Analysis of the translation strategies. This research uses the theory of Newmark about translation strategies for analyzing data. The study wanted to find out the major changes at the syntactic level in the book translated Becoming a Translator by Douglas Robinson to Indonesia used by the translator. Here, the using of translation strategy 4.2.1 synonymy, source text, involvement in the profession, and then target text, hubungan dalam profesi, naturalization, adaptation with pronunciation and spelling adjustment, translated source text, discussion translated into diskusi, adaptation with pronunciation and without spelling adjustments, source text, thesis, target text, thesis. The third, adaptation without pronunciation and with spelling adjustment, lexical, target text, lexical. 4.2.3, paraphrase, source text, I live in a countries and cities between the ages 1 and 19. Target text, akibatnya antara usia 1 sampai 19 tahun saya sudah tinggal di 8 negara dan 10 kota. 4.2.4 notes, source text, it feels to some like the Nuremberg ethics of the SS. Target text, the translator put as the notes of SS is polisi Nazi, sebuah organisasi kemiliteran yang didirikan Hitler pada 1925 sebagai pengawal pribadi dan bertanggung jawab mengelola kamp konsentrasi selama Perang Dunia Kedua. 4.2.5 application, source text ideally deductive principles, target text idealnya prinsip-prinsip penerjemahan deduktif. 4.2.6 reduction, source text, the beginning students translator to the translate the meaning of whole sentences. Target text, penerjemah pemula yang sudah diberitahu agar menerjemahkan makna dari keseluruhan kalimat. 4.2.7 compensation analysis, source text, a pair of glasses translated into kacamata. 4.2.8 transposition, source text, the level of the text difficulty, and then target text, tingkat kesulitan teks. 4.2.9 modulation, source text, because you have done all these things so many times before that your body knows what to do and does it. Target text, sebab Anda sudah melakukan semua itu berkali-kali sebelumnya sehingga tubuh Anda sudah tahu harus berbuat apa dan menerapkannya. The structure of the text is examined. Transposition includes moving from one graphical to polygon and altering the meaning of the text. This translation strategy introduced a change in grammatical structure so the reader can easily understand the text. This strategy also used by the translation to perfect translation. The strategy that often appeared in target textbooks, naturalization. Naturalization is a method of translating target cultural concept in source text by having them in the original target forms. It is a domestication process which aims to minimize the strangeness of foreign text to the target reader. It is found that naturalization is a permanent strategy for translating the target cultural concept from the source text, and its deployment is determined by the target context and knowledge system of the translator. Chapter 5, conclusion and discussion. So the conclusion of this research, the researcher found there are 9 translation strategies consisting of strategy mentioned before. The strategy used by the Indonesian translator of becoming a translator, analysis of strategy used in translating the references becoming a translator, and in this edition of the research, the researcher expected the scientific and contribution to the field of translation study in English and English language literature, particularly in